Well, good morning. Good morning to all. Listen, we have another great program for you today. And today there we go. We're back. There's a lot going on right now with the internet and electricity and all, but we're going to have this program on today. Today is Triumphant Tuesday, and we have Coach Nette Robinson back with us on today, and I know you guys are ready. Today is going to be a little bit different for me because, some didn't have internet, some people didn't have electricity, so I am running this myself. So if you see Nette somewhere that you normally wouldn't see, I guess, hey, just that's me. That's me. But we're going to make it happen today. I'm extremely excited and I'm rejoicing to have her back with us on today. Last week, we had an amazing time. And today, we have a new topic and we're going to talk about reconnecting with your spouse. And that's a part two from last week. We had something else planned where we're going to bring on the husbands and all that. But, it's a lot that took place in between. But of course, we're going to learn how to reconnect with our spouse on today. So welcome, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me again. I'm definitely honored and humbled to be here with you again. I'm excited and thank you and Apostle once again.
Yes, I know you're ready. We had lots of conversation from last week, and we had great feedback. The ladies are really paying attention and they're listening. They want to hear what the coach has to say. So we came up with this topic about reconnecting with our spouse, and I know, Coach, you have a lot to share with us on today. We're not going to even waste any more time. We're going to let you go and just really just speak to the ladies on today. So you
Yes, ma'am.
ready?
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. I am ready. Definitely want to thank God once again for allowing me this chance to be with you. And thank God for my leaders, Bishop KG Stewart and Pastor Rhonda, for releasing me to be able to come back once again. And there is some great information that I want to share with you guys on today. As First Lady Perry said, we're talking about reconnecting with our spouses. And in order to have to reconnect, there had to have been a disconnect in some facet. All of our disconnects may not be the same, but there is a disconnect that happened in some form or fashion. So what I want to really talk about today is starting off with the why we feel the connection. Why do we feel connections, and where did the connection come from when we originally got married, how we were excited, how we were happy when we started the relationship, we were dating, all of those good things. How did that happen? And what created that spark or that connection is so important to understand. And so I want to talk about three different chemicals that happen within our bodies when certain things happen. The first one is cortisol. And cortisol is this chemical that's released when bad things happen. And it's that protective chemical. And it's that chemical that makes us think or pursue things that's in a negative way. And the second chemical that we have that is released in our body is called dopamine. And dopamine is this chemical that gives us this temporary happiness, like, oh my God, we have a new house and we're happy for 5 or 6 months, and then that fades away. So that's the second chemical. And the third chemical is called oxytocin. And this chemical is a long-term effect chemical. This is that chemical that we really want to feed into. That's the chemical we want to really be releasing consistently. And this chemical doesn't come from things. It comes from the connection that happens through touch, through hugs, through kissing, through just those things that happen within the body languages and all of those great things. So that is so important, that the oxytocin is the chemical that we're learning to release within our bodies. It happens when we make love with our spouses. That chemical is released. And so I posted on social media and said, you want to understand why you feel lovey-dovey through the Valentine holidays or on the birthdays or any of the holidays where you feel all excited? It's because you are connecting. More likely than not, you're hugging, you're kissing, you're excited, you're connecting on a level that you probably are not connecting on a day-to-day basis. And so that oxytocin is being released because you're hugging your spouse. So you're excited from the inside for whatever is happening. And I want you to remember, dopamine is that short-term happiness where you get excited about something and then you bottom out. Which means you're no longer excited about it after a while. If your marriage is rocky, if it's shaky, if it's not built on the foundation of a strong foundation of love and endurance and perseverance and connecting with each other, dopamine is probably the chemical that's being released in your marriage. And you're happy and you're excited for a little while. You're excited about Valentine's Day, and the day after Valentine's Day, you're going back to the norm of what you're used to. If oxytocin is that thing that you've been building on, that long-term happiness, that joy that comes from within, you're pouring it to each other, you're serving each other, you're connecting with each other daily, then you can consistently have that throughout your marriage. And so when the holidays leave, your marriage is still joyful, it's still exciting, not perfect, but you're still able to go through things together. You're able to press through things. You're excited about some things. And so I want you to really think about the chemicals that's being released. If your marriage is completely just like in a state of shock and you're just not happy and every day is something and you're fighting every day, you're consistently releasing cortisol. So you may say, well, Coach, how do I get past that? How do I get past this place of releasing this cortisol in my marriage, and I'm not happy and I'm always nagging my husband and I feel like he's not listening to me, so I'm consistently coming at him? How do I overturn that? How do I get back to that place of releasing this oxytocin and dopamine in certain instances? Because dopamine is not a bad chemical, it's just not the chemical you want to release daily and consistently, because it's temporary, which means I'll be happy and then in the next day or two I'm upset and mad and angry because I'm not getting those temporary fixes. Basically, you know how somebody's on drugs and they temporarily happy or they high because they got that drug in them, and then once the drug high leaves, then they're back in this state of I need more, I need more, I need more. That's what dopamine does. Okay, so you don't want to build your marriage off of that. But that oxytocin, I'm telling you how powerful it is. We have something here in our home, and we've been teaching our younger kids this, because my older boys, they're 23 and 18, and I was not the woman that you see today. They were raised completely different, and sometimes they look, and I'm sure your children look as well, like, you let them do that. But I now understand how important it is to intentionally hug them, to intentionally say I love you, to intentionally release that oxytocin through connecting with not only them but my husband. And now they intentionally, if they see me down or bummed out or not looking the happiest, they'll come and say, let me give you some oxytocin, mommy, and they'll give me good hugs and good kisses. And it's amazing how I start feeling up and alive again. So intentionally making those connections. But let's go to this thing of how do I turn this thing around. One thing I like to tell my wives when I'm coaching them is you need to identify the culprit. Identify that thing that's causing you or that played a part in you becoming the woman that you are right now. And that goes with sometimes going back into our past. And when I'm coaching, I'm telling them we're not staying in the past. My goal is to help you where you are now and to help push you forward, help push you into a new place in your marriage and in you as a wife. And so identify the culprit. Let's go back. And if you have paper and pen right now, I want you to do this activity with me. This activity is so mind-boggling, and it blows your mind when you really realize, wow, this has really impacted my life. So I tell them, I want you to think about one woman. Think about one wife, one woman that really showed you what a wife should look like, or what you thought a wife should look like. Think about that one woman that you say, when I get married, I want to be like her. I want to do the things that she do. Think about that woman. Write her name down. That's what I want you to do. Write her name down. And then I want you to write down 3 things. Write down 3 things that you can identify with that she did that made you want to be like her as a wife. I remember as a little girl, I had my grandmother on my paternal grandmother, who she got up every morning, early in the morning, and she would cook breakfast. We had 3 meals a day, home cooked meals a day, 3 of them. And she served my papa. And she just took great care of him. You could feel the love in her home. And she was the person that I could identify with as being a wife. And then I want you to next think about a woman that you saw that you said, I don't want to be like that. That's not how I want to be when I grow up. Write that name down and write down 3 things that made you say you did not want to be like her. What were the characteristics that made you say, I don't want to be like that? Write those things down. And then I want you to look at you as a wife and as a woman right now. And I want you to look at the characteristics that you wrote down that you said, you know what, I want to be like that. And then look at those other characteristics that made you say, I don't want to be like that. And you might say, well, Coach, why are we doing all this? Because you have to identify what the culprit is that brought you into this place of not being able to stay connected, or what caused the disconnect. And sometimes it's in our childhood because we didn't see affection. We didn't see anyone that really showed us what being a wife really and truly looked like. We didn't have anyone that hugged us. So now in your marriage, you're struggling with your husband showing you true affection, or you're struggling with giving true affection because you were not shown that as a young girl. So that's where this all comes from. Identify the culprit and why did you not have those things, and you can't change it, but what made you feel like you did not have those things? Was it that your parents didn't know how to connect? Did you not see a great marriage with your parents, and now it has rolled over into your marriage? So you really want to identify what the culprit is. Go back into your childhood, see that you have those examples, or did you not have those examples? And now you're displaying that in your marriage. Now, things that cause disconnect. What are the things that cause a disconnect? So we've already identified, why we feel the connection we feel in our marriages when we were feeling them. Why we were connected was because we probably were releasing the oxytocin. When we got married, we were hugging, we were kissing, we were making love often. And let me stop right there. Making love often is very important because of all the intimacies that we talked about last week. The only one that you can have with only your husband is sexual intimacy. And that connection is the one that the enemy will come after day after day. He will keep you from being sexually intimate because that's the only one that you can't have sexual intimacy with your children. You can't make that connection with your parents. You can't make that connection with your friends and your family. That's the only connection you can have with your spouse. And so the enemy is going to come after that sexual intimacy. He's going to come after your connection that you have with your husband in the sexual intimacy realm. Now, remember, there are other intimacies that you can have with your husband, but the one that he will attack is you connecting and making love with your spouse often. And let me tell you something, ladies, if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to burn calories, sex does all of that. Look, do it often, okay? Now let's get back into this. I wanted to drop that nugget. Things that cause disconnect. There are some things that cause disconnect. You may say, I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I have to cater to my husband. I have a business. I have to go to work. I have to keep the house clean. I have to take care of the children. Everybody needs something from me. I can't do all of this. Busyness is the enemy. Busyness is not productiveness. I hear my bishop and pastor talk about that all the time. Busyness does not mean productive. So what? You have all these great things that you're doing. You have a lot of them that you do well, but you're a master of none of them. None of them are productive. None of them are healthy. And so in order to reconnect with your spouse, you have to begin to break down this busy status that you have. Say, you know what? I don't want to just be busy. I don't want to have all these things that I'm doing. I want to be effective and I want to be productive in what I'm doing. So busyness is a culprit that will come in and cause disconnect in your marriage. Ladies, I want us to be very, very sensitive with that thing. We don't want to admit that we're just busy and that, the things that truly matter to us are not getting the best of us. I would be so tired by the time I get home. I would be so frustrated. My husband and kids would get the leftovers. We want to make sure that they're not getting the leftovers. Come on, type that in. I don't want my husband to get the leftovers. I don't want my children to get the leftovers. I want them to get the best of me. I want them to get the better parts of me. And how do I do that? We're going to talk about that in the next segment that I'm going to share with you. But business is one way that will cause a disconnect. It will cause division in your home. It will cause you not to be the best wife that you can be because you're so busy. I can't keep my house clean. That's one big thing. When you can't keep your home clean, you can't keep it a nice place of peace. Husbands want to come home to peace. Husbands want to be in a state of peace. The home should be like their sanctuary. They're facing so much in their lives. When they go out into the world, they're going to work, they're doing things, they're trying to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. And when they come home, they should come home to a place where they can call the sanctuary. The sanctuary. You guys know how when we go to church and we come and bring ourselves to Christ and we come and lay before him and we come and we're able to be vulnerable and we're able to cry and we're able to give ourselves to him. That's how our husbands should be able to do when they come home. They should be able to come home to a place of peace, a place where is the sanctuary. It's so pleasant. And they're able to just say, I'm glad to be here. They don't want to come home to nagging. They don't want to come home to complaining. And when they do, it's because that disconnect is there. We want to make sure that we're able to give them a place where peace, where love resides, where they feel welcome, where they feel like they're getting the best. And so we want business not to be the culprit that causes that disconnect. The second thing is communication. That communication is a great barrier that causes us from being able to be the best thing that we can be as wives and them as husbands. But I'm talking to you today, wife. I'm talking to you today as your coach and saying we have to communicate. And when we communicate, we cannot deliver in a tone that's not pleasant. I don't care how he responds. It's how you deliver. So communication is the other thing that causes a disconnect. And communication comes in and it can be that thing that you don't even realize is causing that disconnect because you have been so used to communicating the way that you communicate. And so here's one thing, one rule of thumb, type this in. Give my husband space. Give him space. Let him have his time. Let him have his time to rejuvenate. Let him have his time when he first come into work. When he come in from work, you meet him at the door and you say, you know what, babe? I have dinner going. I know this is the traditional way of life, but hey, we can plan to start doing it at least one day out of the week, 2 days out of the week, and graduate, okay? Graduate. Say, you know what, babe, today I'm going to have your dinner ready after work or whatever it is that he's doing. And I'm going to, babe, just take some time for you today. Take an hour and, I'm going to let you have that time. Give him that. Give him that space. Give him that space to really regroup. because sometimes it's rough. It's rough on us as women. It's rough on them as men. So giving that grace and that space. Come on, say that with me. I'm going to give him grace and I'm going to give him space, because men don't think like we think. They don't operate like we operate. And we want to respect that. We want to honor that and give them that space that they need. The next thing that may cause disconnect is finances. And it comes under that umbrella of communication. Finances may cause a disconnect. How do I reconnect in this area? How do I reconnect? If my husband's the spender and I'm not the spender, or we're so deep in debt that we don't know what to do, and it's caused a bridge in our marriage. We don't even make love anymore because of it. Don't talk about finances in your bedroom. Don't talk about finances in your bedroom, okay? Talk about finances. If you have children, say, hey, kids, mom and daddy are having a meeting and we're going to have it in the kitchen. We need you guys to go to your room for 30 minutes and we're going to have this conversation. Have the conversation in your kitchen, because what happens when you have rough conversations in the bedroom, and this is going to be good for a lot of us. When you have those hard conversations in your bedroom, you're releasing that into the atmosphere in the bedroom. You want to, as much as possible, keep your bedroom a place of love, a place where you connect, a place where you're able to just be free. You want to have those conversations, or go take a drive and go stop at the park and have the conversation. But try as much as possible not to have those conversations in your bedroom, because you want to keep your bedroom open and you want to keep it a sanctuary where you have that opportunity to just make love and release each other in that oxytocin. You want to build that area up for that information. Okay. The next thing may be trust. Write that in. Trust is a big factor. I've been mistreated. He's done things that were not pleasing to me. He's, mistreating me on ways of, them eyes that stream over to other places that they shouldn't. Look, let me tell you guys something. When you pray, be intentional with your prayer. Things are going to happen in life. Life is going to happen. If you've gone through tumultuous things in your marriage that has caused disconnect and caused distrust to happen, hey, pray. If you stayed, pray. Pray, Lord, let him have eyes for only me. Lord, this is something we do when I coach my wives as well. We have sessions where we pray for our husbands, and we're so strategic and intentional to the point to where we're saying, you know what, Lord, let him have eyes for only me. He desire only me. He won't only, I entice him only. He's engaged with only me. We pray for all of those different things. And so it's like becoming intentional in those things so that you're able to have those connections with your husband. So maybe trust has been a big issue and it has caused disconnect. So how do I bring that reconnection back? How do I reconnect with my husband in that area? And he has caused so much hurt in my life. I feel that he has caused so much hurt in my life, but I stayed. Well, you stayed. Let's put the work in. Let's put the work in. And it's possible. It is possible to reconnect with your spouse, because if you have a willing heart, if your mind is set on doing it, you can do all things through Christ who gives you the strength to wake up every day and face those things. Okay. Now, the next segment. So we've talked about the cortisol. We've talked about dopamine, oxytocin, all of those chemicals that's released in our bodies when we either hug or we get something great or when we're mad. Those are the chemicals. So you want to watch those. The next thing we talked about was identifying the culprit. Did you not receive love as a kid? Did you not receive affection? Were you not shown that? Identifying that thing that caused that disconnect. Go back into your childhood, identify and deal with it. Identify and deal with it, because like if you were molested as a child, if you were raped as a kid, that will cause a lot of struggle in your bedroom marriage, because you don't know how to be vulnerable, or either you become very promiscuous in your years coming up to your marriage, and it causes a problem. So identify those things and get a counselor. Go get help. and deal with those things so that your marriage can be healthy and so that you can be a healthy, happy wife. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is really reconnecting. How do I do this? I'm going to give you a couple of points this morning that you can start doing right now, that you can start reconnecting with your husband right now. The first thing I'm going to give you is have the conversation. Have the conversation. What conversation are you talking about, Coach Nette? The conversation where you know, husband, I'm broken in this area. Husband, I know I haven't been the best wife. Husband, forgive me. Husband, I repent to you for withholding sex because I'm angry. Husband, I want to be better. What do you need from me? That's a hard conversation. Lay the pride down and let's say, Lord, I want to reconnect with my husband. And maybe he's the stubborn one. So maybe you're having to be the one to lay the pride down and go to him and say, babe, our marriage can definitely be better. And I want to be better. Can we have a conversation and put everything out there? No judgment zone. No judgment zone. No critical zone. This is just us having a conversation, us being able to share our hearts with each other. And when we have this conversation, we won't go backwards after this conversation. This is our new beginning. Write that, type it in. This is our new beginning. This is what I do to my wives when I'm coaching them. This is our new beginning. Because if you consistently keep the past in the present, you will never have a future. The past will consistently eat away at the present, and you will never tap into your future, your destiny, your purpose as a marriage. What's your purpose as a married couple? Or are you both just operating individually? What's the purpose that God had you to get married? What's your purpose? This is our new beginning, and I'm ready for us to walk into our purpose together. I'm ready for us to be a healthy, happy husband and a healthy, happy wife so that we can have a healthy, happy marriage. What is your purpose? The next thing is pray together. These are things you can start and do right now, ladies. All you have to do is lay down the pride and step up. And don't allow the past to rob you of your future in your marriage. You don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to stay in the state that you're in. Your marriage can come out of wherever it's at. If your marriage is in a great place, it can go to an exotic place. Come on. You can definitely do more. Always strive to work to be better. I'll never forget the words that our bishop and pastor always talk to us is to, just pour into it. Just do it. Just become better. Don't ever get complacent. They always say that to us, and not just in the marital standpoint, but in life in general. And so find a mentor. If you're on here and you're up under Apostle and First Lady Perry, go share. You're not the only ones that's going through. There are lots of people that go through hard times together, but prayer is that thing, that spiritual intimacy will help you get through. It is very important to have that part in your marriage. So that's the second point that I want to share with you today. First one, have the hard conversation, open up, communicate, and pray is the second thing. The third thing I want to give you, and this is your work part of it, you have to be intentional. Type it in. Be intentional. I use that word so often. Be intentional. Be intentional in your marriage. Be intentional with hugging your husband. If you're not used to giving affection, send yourself a message. Give your husband a hug. Send him a text message. Remember to love on your husband. Remember to be an active listener. Remember, send yourself those reminders so that you can become intentional. Don't go days without hugging your husband. Don't go days without affirming him. Don't go days without spending quality time with him. Yes, you can be in the same room. You can even be in the same house, but that's not quality time. Quality time is saying, you know what? I'm shutting the phone off. I'm shutting the world out. And baby, I'm giving you all of me. I'm giving you all of my time. And most of the times we tend to do this on birthdays. We do this on holidays. We do this on Valentine's Day. So we just come out of this intentional state. We can do it. You did it for Valentine's Day. You made sure you got him something. You made sure you probably got your lingerie and you got all dressed up because it was Valentine's Day. You were being intentional. Do that same thing. Act like every day is Valentine's Day. Don't allow your marriage to go on autopilot where it's just drifting. It's just drifting. You're not going higher and you're just so happen probably not going lower. But what happens is when you just go on autopilot, eventually that nose turns down. And before you know it, you're like, how did we get to this place? How did we get so far apart? Same thing with our spiritual life with Christ. We get so far apart. We're like, how did I get all the way over here? How did I drift to this place? We have to be intentional with our husbands and be intentional with giving ourselves to him, just like we did for Valentine's Day. So put that mental note in. Every day is Valentine's Day. Connect intentionally. Put the work in. Intentional is very important. I can't stress that enough. Autopilot, we don't want that. But we want to make sure that we are touching and reconnecting with our husbands in such a way that the enemy don't have room to come in and steal our intimacy, steal our emotional intimacy, steal our intellectual intimacy. He don't have room to come in and steal our sexual intimacy, which is that place where we're able to hug, and that physical intimacy where we're able to touch each other, where we're able to enjoy each other, where we're able to release that oxytocin into our marriage. And with that oxytocin, you're just so happy. And I'm going to share this. This is probably going to be funny to some of you guys, but then I hope some of you guys thought like I thought. I remember being a young girl and going to school. And sometimes the kids would say things like, oh, she must don't have a boyfriend. And I didn't understand it. I don't believe they understood what they were saying. But I now totally understand what was being said as I am older. It was when you're not in a state where you're receiving love, giving love consistently, and you're not releasing oxytocin into your body, then you're mad, you're grouchy, you're grumpy, you're angry, you get mad for no reason. So, hey, look, we need to release oxytocin. We need to release. Look, let me give you guys this other point, because I'm talking to wives and future wives today. Your husband can't go more than 3 days without sex. Okay? Look, men need sex. So, hey, stop withholding. Let's release. Let's have fun. Let's become emotionally connected throughout the day so that we can help have that physical and that sexual intimacy in the evening times, at nighttime. They cannot, by that time, my husband's slamming doors. Nothing is light anymore. Look, so I'm always trying to think of, okay, Nette, come on, baby, get it together. For women, they're like microwaves in the area. They're ready in the moment. We have to sometimes work our way in. Most women, not all women, most women have to work our way in, and so it takes time for us to get to that space. So hey, work starting in the morning times. Let's get it together, ladies. So look, I just wanted to drop that nugget. I hope it wasn't too much for some of us, but hey, we need to know this as wives. This is the stuff we need to know. We need to understand that men can't go without sex like we can. Now, if something is wrong medically, let me make sure I keep the balance here. If something is wrong medically, if things are happening, with medications and things of that magnitude, things may be off. Go to your doctor. Be honest with your doctors and let them know, because you don't have to suffer in silence. Our marriages don't have to suffer in silence. There are things that can be done. There are things that, and it doesn't just have to be sex. That's a whole nother conversation. And I'm sure, look, guys, if you want that part of it, join my wife coaching, because look, I go deep in. I talk about all of that. I have wives who are screaming for sex because their husbands can't do it. Look, we'll talk about that in the wife coaching. www.awalkthroughlife.org is where the coach, that type of coaching is set up. But today I want us to talk about releasing that oxytocin and reconnect with our husbands. This reconnection is so vital. The enemy is out to destroy marriages. And the way I see it, and the way from the things that I have studied, when the head is not present, the enemy have his way with the body. When our husbands are not in alignment, the enemy comes in like a flood. But God says he'll lift up the standard. Sometimes we just have to step in, ladies, and we have to hold up our husbands and cover him. Cover your husband. Cover him until he get where he needs to be in God. Amen. Amen. So look, those are all the points I wanted to share. I pray that it helped you guys. And if you have questions, First Lady Perry, I am done. Thank you so much. I am blessed to be able to be here. I thank God for you and Apostle once again. I thank God for my leaders, Bishop KG Stewart and Pastor Rhonda. And that's what I was going to say. Get a mentor. Get some mentors. My pastor and bishop have been married, and on June 27 will be 40 years. Get a mentor. Get somebody who has experienced this thing. And I just watch them. I learned so much just from watching. And I glean from them. My husband and I, we mimic them. We just pull from them. We take everything they have and we just apply it to our marriages. And we see the benefits of it. So find someone. Get with your leaders and get that information, and don't suffer in silence any longer. First Lady Perry, thank you.
Thank you. That was really good. For those of you who are just joining us, listen, we have Coach Nette with us back again, and we are talking about reconnecting with our spouse. So listen, you want to tune in and let someone know that the program is on so that they can too be blessed in their marriage. And also, if you have any questions, go ahead and write it in the comments, and Coach Nette will answer your question for you. And remember, I'm running the show today, so if there's a delay, don't worry about it. I'll get to you. I have a question here. How important is it as a woman to set the atmosphere in the home?
As a woman, it is vital. We create the type of tone that our homes will have. And I always like to say, happy spouse, happy house. We have to make sure that our homes are, like I said, a sanctuary, making sure that the home is clean. Oh my goodness, that is vital. If the home is a mess, I find when my home is starting to get out of order, then I'm not in order. I can't function in this order. I can't function in this order. And something I always say, I used to say this to my students. I said it to my educators. I say it to my wives. I say, where there is no structure, there is chaos. Where there is no order, there is chaos. And so we want to make sure that our homes are clean. It's a place where the husband want to come. Do he want to come home, or is it like, oh man, it's time to go home now? Oh, is it a struggle for him to come home? If it's a fight for your husband to come home, we need to understand why. What is it that makes him not want to be home? That should be the place he wants to be. That should be the place where he say, if I can't go anywhere else and feel peace, if I can't go anywhere else and feel respect, if I can't go anywhere else and feel love, I can go home and I can get those things. And so making sure that your home is clean, it's a place where he want to be, is vital. Because as wives, and let me say this, when people come to your home, they're not going to say those children are nasty. They're not going to say that man is nasty. They're going to say she nasty. Because if your home is a mess, most people look at the woman and say, that house a mess. That bathroom, I wouldn't use their restroom, and I won't eat out of their refrigerator because it's nasty. Women, we have to do that part. I know we don't want traditional homes where, I'm not doing all of that by myself. He needs to help me. Yes, he does. But guess what? until he get into that place where he's able to do it, please make sure your homes are clean, clean up. Make sure the restrooms, if two places in our homes are not together, that's the bathroom and the kitchen. We have to make sure those two places are nice and clean. Clean those things every day, 2 times a day if you can. But hey, I'm being facetious, but look, that is important. Our homes being clean is important. And whatever part your husband can play, if he can do, my husband helps out a whole lot. I'm thankful for that. My husband can clean this home up just like if I did it. He makes up the bed. He washes dishes. He folds the laundry. He does all of that. But I don't depend on him to do that. He helps me in that area, and I help him in areas. So become a team. Teamwork is very important in marriage. But ladies, if he's not doing it, you make sure you do it. You make sure you do that. First lady, I can't stress enough how important this is to clean up our homes and make sure that it's a sanctuary, that it's a place of peace. And if you have children, let me speak on this because I have two little kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old as well. Stay on them. Teach them how to clean up. Teach them how to manage that type of things. And chores are important for them to understand that you have to play your part in this home. Everybody has a job in this home. We run it like it's a business, and everybody has a job. My husband is the CEO of this home. I am the one that comes in and I help him make the plans and the arrangements. I manage it. And those children, they workers. Get to work. We need this done. We need that done. Hey, put a plan in place. You may not do it like us, but have a plan. Have some structure, because your children are watching you. They are looking at you. They're looking at how you communicate. They're looking at how you love each other. They're looking at how you work through situations and problems. They're looking at all of that. And guess who they're learning from? They are learning from you right now what marriage looks like. And that's why, First Lady, a lot of children grow up and say, I don't want to be married. Or a lot of kids say, I don't want to have children, because sometimes the home life was so distraught that they think that it's the worst thing ever to have a marriage or have children. So we want to show them that it's a pleasure to be married. It's not perfect, but it's a pleasure. We allow our children in on some of the things that we deal with. When it comes to having certain conversations, we want them to hear us have a slight disagreement and see how mommy and daddy deal with it. We deal with it in such a way that makes them say, mommy and daddy love each other. They don't agree on that, but they love each other. They still see us hug. They see us kiss. They see us tell each other we love each other. They see us flirting with each other. Guys, this is healthy. It's not a secret. We need them to understand that our home is a place where we develop them. We teach them what life looks like through our lenses. We get to shape and mold them. So why do we want marriage to be a secret? Why do we want them not knowing that, okay, we need to clean up and we're having a disagreement on, where the kids need to do this. Now, what you don't want to do is allow your kids to turn you against each other. And our leaders taught us that. You never let the kids turn you against each other in your home, because one day those children are going to grow up, and I have one that's already gone and one that's about to leave. They're going to leave, and it's just going to be you two. And because you didn't nurture the marriage, then now you don't know who each other are. You don't know how to deal with each other. You don't know how to respond. You don't know how to love. You don't even know what to do. You don't know what each other like, because you poured so much of you in your kids that you didn't focus on each other. So the home is very important. Building your marriage is very important. Having a clean home is very important. Teaching those children how to clean up and be workers in the home is very important. Having a structure is very important. All of that is very important.
Yes, that's real good. That's real good. When you said something earlier about the children, and so to speak, you said they feel what's going on in that home. They can detect the tension. They can detect where there's confusion and all that. So as a mother, and even for the if there are any dads on that's on, how important is that when there's confusion in the home, and then that's what you're teaching your children. and then they don't understand what's going on. Then they begin to react, and then the whole house has confusion.
That's right, First Lady. I can't stress this enough. When children are inside the home, they have this energy. They have an energy and they can pick up. We think they don't know, they know. And so it's important that we allow them to understand that life isn't perfect. Mommy and daddy don't always see eye to eye, but the goal is to communicate. And you teach them in their youth how to communicate through if you're yelling and fighting over them, that's what you're teaching them. If you're teaching them, let's sit down and have a conversation, that's what they're going to do. If you're teaching them not to communicate at all and build up and then have the whole house explode, that's what you're teaching them. So what you do matter. What you do, how you respond, how you love your spouse in front of them is going to matter. If you talk bad about your spouse in front of your children, you're teaching them to belittle their other parent. You're teaching them not to value them. You're teaching them to disrespect them. And for men, respect is one of the key components that they need to feel like they are a part or that they feel like they are loved. And so you want to make sure as a wife and as a mother, you are not talking about your husband. You keep him lifted up in front of your children. You keep him high in front of those kids. So they keep that respect level for their father or for their stepfather in place. So I can't stress it enough. What you do in your home is what you're teaching your children. If you're teaching them confusion, that's what they're learning. Your marriage is the example to them of what love looks like. And your marriage should be the thing that makes them want to either be married or it could cause them to not to want to be married.
Right. So what does a child need from the father?
That's good. I can speak to that so personally because I was a fatherless daughter. My dad left when I was 3. My biological father left when I was 3, and he returned when I was 30. So by that time I had 3 babies, and in my younger years, it really, really hurted so bad to not have my biological father in my life. And I had 2 boys first, and then I had my daughter, who was my 3rd daughter, and she was 3 months when my father came back into my life. And to see her and my husband's relationship, I can totally understand why I became the young woman that I became, because I was missing that component. For daughters, they need that first love to be their fathers. And when that's missing, they will respond and react in ways that can be not pleasant. They can respond with promiscuity. They can respond with hatred and anger. Some young ladies may turn to lesbianism because of that missing component. It's so many different things that can happen when a daughter don't receive that love from a father. When a son doesn't receive that love from a father, oh my goodness, it is, my God. Okay, for a son, when they don't have a dad, it's rough for a girl. It's rough for both. But when a son doesn't have that father, I saw my brothers go through these phases. My second brother, he went through a phase where he started using a bathroom on himself because our dad left. And he was 7 years old. And he never recovered. It takes a lot for him still to recover. So for boys, it's this internal thing that happens, and it's hard for them to overcome it. And a lot of them also go the opposite way. But some of them may take this information and they may say, you know what? I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like my father. I'm not leaving my kids. And they go to the extreme of being so in tune and so connected. And that's what we pray for, is that the young ladies and the young men will go to the extreme and say, you know what, I don't want to be like that. I'm not going to ever leave my family. I'm going to be there. and I'm going to be apart. And we hope for that. But that doesn't always happen. And it impacts a young man so deep that some of them don't ever recover. So to have a father, and the part that they play is to build them up, show them what a man should do. My husband has been so amazing. And my oldest son's father, they have been amazing with showing them how to become every part of a man that they should be. That provider, the one that protects their family, the one that keeps them covered in prayer, the one they've shown them those parts of being a man. They've shown them you need to work. You need to go out and work for your family. My husband did not work for quite a few years. We were diagnosed with chronic kidney failure 6 weeks into our marriage. And so it was just my husband, myself, and our 2 boys at the time. And we all went through that together. So because my husband could not work, did not make him not the head of the house. He still was the king of this castle. So we have to make sure that we keep that perspective in place with our children, that, sometimes the husbands go through phases where they may lose a job. That doesn't take away them being the king. That just means now the other parts of the body need to step up and help. But we walk through this. We have to walk through this. And so our husbands and the man in the house play a key role in building up these girls and building up these sons. So if you are a father on here, take your daughter on dates. Don't let her go looking to little boys to tell her she's cute. Don't let her go looking to little boys and tell her she got a nice smile. You tell her those things every day. If you can't go out, my husband and daughter, they're used to having their dates. I set up a whole date in the family room and we served them and let them have their date that they were so used to having, because she was needing that from her dad. She needed that one-on-one. Have that one-on-one with your sons. Have that one-on-one with your daughters. Have that one-on-one with each other. That's very important that you're incorporating that, because First Lady, one thing I found is all kids don't need the same thing from their parents. Some kids need you in one season, and in another season, they need a different thing. Like my oldest son, he's 23. He's down in Baton Rouge. He's 4 hours from us, and he's living life to the fullest. He don't call every day, but he'll text, and I'll text him, baby, you're okay. He don't need me to talk to him every day. But I promise you, when it's time to fill out some paperwork or somebody asking him for something, he calling his mama first. Mama, this job asked me about this W-9 form or this W-2, what I'm supposed to do, mama. So he don't need me to tell him how to live. But when he need me, he's going to call me and say, mama, how do I fill out this paperwork? So we have to understand that our kids need everything different from us, and respect that. One may not need you in this area, but they need you in another area. So all of those things are very important. I hope I answered the question.
Oh, yes. I mean, the information is great. I mean, I love it. I mean, even my husband, he's sitting here listening. He say, she's a sound teacher, and he's loving it.
Oh,
but I have a good husband too. Thank you, honey. He's my audience today. Yes. Yes. So ladies, hey, if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comment section. I know last week we didn't have any because she really answered everything. But I have one more question, is if there has been, let's just say the husband and wife, there's been so much damage, where can she begin to even start to even turn it around? Or even him, both?
That's a good question. This is my second marriage. I was married very young because I wanted to do the right thing in God. My life was very chaotic in that time, and I got pregnant with my second son, and I got married, and it wasn't the best. And I went through some things that a lot of wives probably go through right now, and it was rough. And in trying to get in that place of really identifying where you need help in, or if it's the husband, identify those areas that need the help. Identify where the culprit is. Identify those things. We have to be honest with ourselves. If we know that we've gone through some things that causes this damage in our marriage, we have to deal with it. And so where do I start? I started back then when I went through that divorce, and I became a single mom, and I went through relationships that were not healthy. I went through this, it was toxic. And so how did I get to this place to now where I can love and receive love? And let me tell you something, ladies, it took me a while to break that stuff off of my life. And I'm gonna go a little spiritual here because this is just in me. I had to let God deal with me. And when I began to allow God to break things off of my life, like deal with the ugly parts of me, girl, you got a bad temper. Girl, my husband watched me for 7 months. John watched me for 7 months, and he had no idea why God would not release him. I had no idea that he was watching me. He said the Lord would not release him. And I pray that we share our story all the time, but his side of the story is so like profound, and it really does something to me every time I hear him say, God said not to say anything. Now is not the time. And for 7 months, God held him off. And when he finally said something to me, those 7 months that he was watching me, God was delivering me. God was delivering me from the sexual impurities that I had. God was delivering me from the disconnect that I had from my father that broke me down, that I felt like I had to have a man to feel whole. God was dealing with me from thinking that a man was the thing that was taking care of me, but it was really him. And he spoke these words so clear to me. He says, I really want to heal you, but every time I try, you put a man in my place. You put a man in my place. And so every time God would try to bring me forth and bring the good things out of me and bring those things, the purpose out of me and the woman that was really on the inside of me, but because it had not been nurtured, then he couldn't do it because I would always bring another man in. And so God had to break those things. So you really have to go deal with those ugly parts of you, wife and husband. Husbands, if your mom left you, if your mom had man after man coming in and you saw her with men and that hurted you and you weren't able to express your emotions, you were always told to toughen up and to be a man, and your emotional state was shut down, you have to deal with that. You have to say, you know what? I don't know how to express emotions. I don't know how to love you, wife. I'm not sure how to love you. My daddy didn't show me. He wasn't here. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to provide. I never saw a man provide. Tell me, help me. You have to be honest. So that's where it begins. You cannot heal your marriage. You can't heal it if you haven't dealt with the ugly parts of it. Because once you start building, that ugly part's going to peep his head up. And it's going to say, you're not going nowhere. I'm here. Sexual problems, I'm here. Hatred, I'm here. Anger, I'm here. Here I am. Not knowing how to communicate, I'm here. Oh yeah, it's going to peep its ugly head up because you didn't deal with it. Oh, you were molested as a little girl and you still holding on. Your husband don't know. I'm here. You'll never have good sex. You'll never be free in your bedroom. I'll always make you feel ashamed for having sex with your husband. I'll always make you feel embarrassed about your body because you don't want to deal with that 3-year-old, that 5-year-old, that 11-year-old that was molested. Come on and be honest and open up. Come on, you have to have these hard conversations. You have to be open, honest, and vulnerable in your marriages in order to grow. I will never forget, my husband and I went through some things. I hope we still have time, First Lady. I'm sorry. I want to be respectful.
Yeah, keep going. This is so good. I didn't even realize it was after 12. Keep going. If someone has to get off, they can come back and watch it.
I have to share this story because I remember when my husband and I went through some things in our finances, and we were really working hard to break that bondage off of our life in the financial area. And we just kept trying to figure out, why do we keep hitting this brick wall? We could not figure out. And so we had this conversation, and we had an open and honest conversation. And I am the Like, I'm like, okay, we can't buy anything. Oh, we got to save everything. Oh, we got to. And my husband is this person that wants to cater to me. He wants to buy for me. He wants to be able to surprise me. And I'm like, don't do that, baby. No, because how much this costed? That's my first question when he would buy something. How much did this cost? Because I'm like, we could do something else with that money. But that was smothering him. It was smothering him not to be able to do that, because his love language is one thing he wants to be able to give. He loves to shower me. And because I was smothering him, he felt like he had to sneak and do it because he wanted to be able to do those things. And so once we had that open conversation and he was open with me, he said, babe, I want to be able to do certain things. And when you say we need certain things, I want to be able to provide. So he'll go do whatever it took to make sure that if I said, you know what, babe, this is coming up, and you know we're missing this much on it, but I don't want to go into the savings or something like that. He's gonna try to figure out how do I need to do it, because the provider in him kicks in. The provider in him kicks in. And so I had to say, okay, Nette, you have to be careful how you communicate that to him, because you don't want to make it seem like you guys are in a struggle place, because the provider in him is gonna say, I have to fix this. And so you have to make sure that you are able to communicate, have those hard conversations. Once we had that conversation, we found such a freedom and liberty, and we came to a common ground. So now his purpose is, I still get to spoil my wife. I get to buy those things that I want her to have, even though I'm not looking for anything, but that does something for him. And that's part of love languages, lady. Let me tell you something. If you are not familiar with your husband's love language and identifying how he receives love and how he gives love, you have to find that out. And that is another thing that we do in the wife coaching. I tell them, you cannot love him if you don't know how he received love best. If you're going out and you're buying him things, and buying stuff does nothing for him, he still don't feel like he's receiving love from you. But if you block off your schedule and you say, babe, I blocked today off for you only, and you say today is your day, and his love language is quality time, physical touch, oh, you got him. You are filling him up then. You are filling him up. So it's like really identifying those things and really, really having those conversations and being open and honest. It's where you begin. You find that common ground. If you're having problems with, this is a big question. Well, how much should we have sex? You know, women like, oh God, it's too many times a week. And the man like, oh, come on, we can do it over and over. Or maybe the man like, oh, Lord, she bothering me again. And the woman is like, oh, yeah, let's do this 5 times a week. This is what you do. And this is the common ground that if you want it 5 times and you want it 3 times, then you come to 4. That means both persons are giving something up. Both persons are sacrificing something. If you're saying we're struggling in our finances, and he wants to spend $100 on frivolous things a month, and I want to spend $50, put it at 75. Both people are giving something up. Sacrifice. Give that opportunity to connect and say, you know what? I'll give up a day and you give up a day. So it's that common ground that really, really makes this work. This is how it works. And it takes work. You have to put the work in. It's not going to change overnight. If you've been bumping heads in the sexual intimacy arena for 10 years, I promise you, you're going to have to put in work. You're going to have to put the work in to sacrifice. You have to be in agreement and do it.
You know, last week we had a question that we didn't get to. Remember that question? Do you remember that question last week? Okay.
Yes. The wife
so
said,
we want to deal with that.
How am I supposed to do all of this? I have to work. I have to take care of the children. I have to, cook food. I'm just so busy. I'm going to go back to this. Busyness is not productive. You have to make time. You have to be intentional with this. We will invest in everything else. We'll go take classes for our jobs. We'll go take classes to become better in our businesses. We'll go to church and we'll take classes on ministry level, but we won't take the time to invest in our marriage and say, you know what? My marriage matters too. I'm going to cut everything off today. And I am going to spend time with my husband. Children, get your baths at 6 o'clock tonight, not 7, because mommy and daddy have a date. And guess what? This is the rule. You go get in your bed. You don't get out the bed. I'm going to feed you at 7 o'clock. You're going to be full and you're going to be clean. Mommy and daddy have to have time. My husband and I do it all the time now. When you have little babies, you can't do it like that. But let me tell you what you can do, because we had 2 little babies at the same time. We had a baby on November the 9th, 2011, and turned around and had another one on October the 9th, 2013. So they're 23 months apart. So what we would do with them is we would intentionally say, okay, babe, and it was hard. It was harder with the younger kids, but we would intentionally say, okay, babe, you know, we haven't been together, and we have to make it happen. So, hey, put them babies on the floor, and guess what? Let's get them good in their sleep real good. Look, y'all, we have to make this work. Whatever season you are in, find a plan and work the plan. But it's important that you do it, because you'll be attending to everything else, and your marriage, you'll find your marriage suffering. You'll find your marriage struggling because you did not give it the attention that it needs. And you go on autopilot. And remember what I said, you're like this at first, but eventually that nose start tipping down and you start plummeting. And that's what you do not want. So busyness, I understand. I feel every wife. I'm telling you, I remember going to church and having those 2 babies, and we travel an hour and a half to get to church. That's how good church is. That's how great our leaders are. That's how amazing our ministry is. We travel an hour and a half to get to church. And I would pray the whole way when we had those 2 babies. Lord, please just let them sit down. Let them not cry today. Let me not have to leave out the sanctuary so I can get a word. God, I need a word today. I'm going to break. I'm going to lose it. That's the same way I have to go to God for my marriage. That's the same way I have to go to God for my marriage. And we have to do that. God, please let the kids rest well tonight so that hubby and I can watch a movie uninterrupted. God, please take it to God in prayer. I'm telling you guys, take it to God in prayer. Whatever you need, take it to God. God, help me. Help me be able to manage this. Help me be able to set a schedule. Help me to be able to prioritize this thing, because I'm overwhelmed right now. It's overtaking me. And be honest with it. It's important that we're honest about these things. Find another mother. Find another mother. You know how you find those workout partners? Find a mom partner and say, girl, today wasn't a good day for me. I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together tomorrow. But girl, I about broke today. I almost cracked the kids back. You know, it was almost the end for them today. Girl, I almost lost it. You know, hubby almost got the worst part of me. But, you know, I held my ground. Find a place of release, because it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be easy. It's hard. But as those kids get older, I'm seeing now, we'll tell them in a minute, hey, mommy and daddy have a date. We'll lock our door. Don't knock on our door. You go eat. I cooked. And look, and I'm so grateful for my daughter. She's 9 years old. She can cook. She know how to run the house. So I'm grateful because I've poured that into her. I've poured that. I don't have to wake up in the morning and cook breakfast because I've taught her how to do that. She's been cooking since she was 6 years old. She can cook a full breakfast, grits, eggs, bacon, pancakes, all of that good stuff. She bakes cakes and sells them. So I've been teaching and training her for a long time. Teach those kids. Teach them how to do it so that you're not carrying the weight of everything. Moms, this is how you release you. You delegate. So, hey, busyness, sometimes we have to take it on, but teach those children and tell them mommy and daddy time is important. We're not good. And if we're not good, you're not good, because what happens with us rubs off on you. And that's what our kids understand.
I have one more question. Listen, guys, y'all are not asking any questions. I'm doing all the talking, which I don't mind because these are my questions. What happens and what can a wife do when she's already damaged the marriage or destroyed the trust with the man? Not so much unfair or anything, but it's just he just don't want to be bothered. He's really just lost and out of touch.
Yeah, that disconnect. That's that disconnect again. So how do I reconnect in that arena? Sometimes the marriage gets to that place, and that's because it's been years and probably years of doing those things that cause the damage. And so sometimes husbands they don't respond like we respond. Husbands will shut down and just let it be. They're just like going with the motion of it, the mojo, and I'm just gonna go with the mode of it. And they don't. We will nag. We're gonna talk, and we're gonna, you don't love me, you don't hug me. They just shut down. Most of them just shut down. They don't say anything about it anymore. They no longer even, that's when you're really disconnected. When the husband is not pursuing, because a man's natural state is to chase. A man's natural state is to pursue. And when they're no longer doing that, they're no longer pursuing after you, they're no longer, and they're just okay and yesing, they're totally disconnected. And so how do I get back to that place where I can get him to understand that I apologize and that I want to reconnect with my husband? Here's what you have to do, ladies. You have to go to him. You have to repent. I'm sorry. I know I've been a nagger. I know I've been a complainer. I know I have caused you not to even pursue me any longer. I know I caused it. I know that you're not connected to me any longer because of things that I've probably said. I've mistreated you. I've talked down on you. I've talked to my family about you. I've belittled you. I've not respected you. I've done those things, and I'm sorry, but I want to be better. I want to be a better wife. And so if you can tell me some things that you need from me that can help you begin to trust me again and help me begin to reconnect with you, I would love if you would help me, hubby, because I want to be good for you. I want to be that Proverbs woman that when you read that scripture, I'm living that. I want to be the one that people say she respects her husband. Her husband's name is all throughout the world because her you know what? She loves him and she keeps him covered and she don't talk bad about him. And other men respect him and other women respect him because of how she takes care of him and how she treats him. And so they don't have any other choice. And this is the thing about me. You can talk about me every day, all day, First Lady Perry. It will not faze me. But if you come at my husband, I'm a whole different woman because there's something about how I'm going to protect my husband. You're not going to mistreat him. You're not going to talk bad about him. You're not going to even look sideways at him because that's how much I respect my husband. I know the things that he's done. I know how he loves his family. I know how he's in the grind for us. So I'm really, really, really covering him. I'm really, really praying over him. I'm really speaking highly of him. Nobody will never know anything that my husband has done that was not right because it's nobody's business. So ladies, stop calling your family. Find that relationship with your husband and with God. Get a mentor who you can go to when you know you've messed up and say, First Lady Perry, I messed up. I wasn't a good wife and I said some things that were bad to my husband and I need to get it back together. Can you pray with me and keep me covered as I go in and work on this thing? Because I'm in the doghouse. You know how we always say the men in the doghouse? Sometimes we put ourselves in those positions as women, and we need to go to our husbands and repent and ask him for those things that will allow him to open back up to us and allow us to reconnect with him.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really good. And I know that helps so many people that are listening on and that will listen. But we have a question here from Deetra. What do you do when you're the one who do more of the praying in the marriage?
That's a really good question. Deidre, let me tell you something. Thank God somebody's praying. Thank God somebody's praying. Because sometimes, in most instances, we as women, we go in. We like prayer warriors. We are like intercessors. We're like, yeah, I'm going in. And you know what? If your husband is doing any part of it, be thankful. And you have to go, just like you say you're praying, that's what you take to God and say, Lord, if you want your husband to be the leader in that area, go to God And something that I've intentionally done, and my husband is very grounded in Christ. That was actually one of my prerequisites to God. I kind of was like, God, I don't want to have to grow no man up in God. I want him to already be ready. I want him to be grounded in you because I didn't want to have to put that work in. I was like, please, Jesus, that was one of my prerequisites. Lord, please don't let me have to lead a man to you, Jesus. And if you're a future wife on here, or you're not, you're just a single woman and you're listening in, honey, please don't get caught up in being Jesus. Please don't get caught up in trying to drag a man to Christ, okay? Or the Lord told me he my husband, and so I'm gonna save him. You can't save him. So that's just another little nugget. Let me get back over here. You have to make sure that you are taking this to God in prayer. And what I intentionally did, because my husband, he is a quiet prayer. He's very funny. He has a great personality. But now the more that I prayed out loud in our home, and the more that we pray together, the more now I see his heighten of prayer. It's on a whole different level. And our leaders really pushed him as well by, he would lead Sunday morning pre-service prayer. And boy, when I would start hearing him and I would be out there like, yeah, that's my husband. Come on, baby. I'm cheerleading him on. So whatever part your husband is doing, you just have to step in and be the head cheerleader, honey. Step in and cheerlead like never before and say, babe, you did awesome praying. Now, can you lead a little Bible study for us this Wednesday? And, you just lead us in our family Bible study. Help him, groom him. And my pastor always told me, girl, you have brought Brother John out. He a whole different man. You a bad woman, girl. She would tell me that. Because he has grown and I have grown as a wife and as a woman, but you should help each other grow. So maybe he's not there yet, Deidre, but hey, keep praying, keep cheerleading, keep telling him how awesome he is. And that's in any area, ladies. If it's any area you want your husband to grow in, come on, affirm him in that area. If he's not the best handyman, look, I always tell my husband, man, you can bring somebody in. You don't have to do it because he thinks that's what make him macho. And so I said, babe, you still a man, even if you don't do it. You the man because you brought somebody in and you paid for it to get done. So you still the head man in my eyes, baby. So look, it doesn't matter if you bring somebody in or if you do it. You still the man. So it's like affirming them and letting them know that just because they don't do a certain thing makes them any less than a man. And this stuff takes work, First Lady. It takes work. It sounds good. I know it sounds good, ladies. And you're saying, well, how do I get started? That's what I do in my coaching sessions. It's like I can give all this information and we can have this great conversation, but how do I really get started? How do I become intentional? I don't even know where to start. You have to get somebody that makes you accountable, because if you're a person that's not disciplined, if you're a person that's not goal oriented or task oriented, you won't do it. You won't do it unless somebody say, did you do this today? Did you send your husband a text like you're supposed to? Until you get the habit and the routine down. So yes, that's what I would say.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. So we have another question here. This is from Renee, soon to be a wife here. Getting these golden nuggets to take into my marriage. Okay, that's you just letting us know that she's going to be a wife really soon. Congratulations, Renee. We're excited about that. Okay, here's one. Make sure that's a question. Husband had a stroke. This is from Cornelia. I work 8+ hours a day. I know we have to keep a clean house and how to ask for help, even when he knows you've been a super mom or a superwoman, but would like a maid or is help in the house.
That's good, Cornelia.
I know we have to keep a clean house. How to ask for help.
How to ask for help. She's saying how to ask for help. Have that conversation and say, babe, I'm overwhelmed. That goes back to being able to be vulnerable with your spouse and having that open space. Sometimes when we're not able to say those things, it's because we don't feel like we have that avenue with our spouse to be able to say it. And that goes back to that closeness and that vulnerability that you need to build with your husband. And most of the time, most husbands don't want their wives to feel like they're down and out, or they can't do a certain thing, or that they can't make it happen. And so being open and say, babe, I remember when I was pregnant with our daughter, it was so much on me because I was managing a beauty school. I was still trying to do the salon part-time. And I told him, I said, and he was sickly at the time. I was like, babe, we're going to have somebody come in once a month and deep clean. You know, we can keep it tidy. That it doesn't make me any less than a woman by outsourcing the things that I don't have time for. If I have to outsource and we have the resources to do it for a season, do it. Do what helps make your home work better, work easier. Come on, ladies. Come on, husbands. If you have $50 extra a week, take that $50 and put it together per week. And then by the time the end of the month comes, you have $200 to bring somebody in to do a deep clean on your home because you just don't have the time. It's nothing wrong with that. If it doesn't put you in a financial strain, if it doesn't put you at odds in your marriage and you guys agree on it, outsource the things that you need to have outsourced. If you're a business owner, you would do the same thing. If you can't do everything, I can't do the text messages, I can't do the marketing on social media and do the hair and scope the clients. I can't do all of that. So then I would need to outsource something so that the thing that needs my most attention gets my most attention. If that means bringing a babysitter in for 2 hours to babysit so that you can have a date, do it. If you can outsource it, do it. So ask, tell him, I need your help. And baby, if you cannot give me the help, I understand. Can we think about another alternative and let's outsource this thing so that our home can stay nice and clean? Because I want us to have a nice home. It makes me feel like I use I. It makes me feel like I'm not doing my part when the house is not together. So I would like to make sure that our home is a pleasant place where you can reside. And because you're the king, baby, you're the king. So, you know, you got to bring it all together.
Yes. Well, one more. Well, look like two more. Okay. You want to read it?
What do you do when your husband shuts down on the family when things come up and he can't handle it? So you have to try and keep the kids encouraged because they don't understand. That's exactly what you have to do. You have to keep the thing rolling. Sometimes we have to step in, guys. That's what marriage is. When one is down, one is up. When one is up, the other one may be down. But God is always that centerpiece. Always keep these things before God and say, God, help my husband. He don't know how to handle it. Now you have to think, D, where did this come from? Was he not taught how to deal with situations and pressure of life? What makes him shut down? So now you have to, as a wife, identify and help him work through that. Well, baby, do you think we need to get counseling so that you can learn to deal with this thing and not shut down all the time? So guys, I'm not a counselor. I always like to, I'm just a wife coach and I help wives help within their marriages. But you know, you have to outsource this stuff. I say, okay, this is not for me. This is something, this part of it, you need to be seeing a counselor for. You need to identify, have those conversations and say, babe, and you know, most men are macho. They're like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't have no problem. That ego may kick up. Try again in a couple of months. But don't delivery is everything. Tone is everything. Go with a pure heart and a soft tone. And D, tell him, I understand that you probably didn't see this. I get it. I'm here to support you. We're not enemies. We're in this thing together. My husband and I always say we go in together and we come out together. And so you tell him, I'm walking through this thing with you because I want us to be better. I want our marriage to be better. So you just keep keeping the kids encouraged. Keep being the wife and being the helpmate. Because right now he needs your help. If it's not in a place, if your marriage is not where you've already decided, oh, I'm leaving or anything like that. If you're staying, stay and put the work in and say, you know, this is just one area we have to keep working in because my husband don't know how to handle the pressure. He don't know how to deal with it. So give him grace and go and pray and try to find help.
That's good. Here's another one.
How can a single woman embrace singleness as she waits for a husband? Woo! That's a whole story there. But let me tell you what happened to me. This is my personal experience, may not be your experience. I remember after I went through the season of, okay, I had this toxic relationship, it wasn't good. And I finally made up in my mind that God, I'm going to go through this season. I have to go through this season. It was a necessity because sometimes as women, we don't want to feel like we're alone. Well, let me tell you something. There are a lot of married ladies that are alone right now and lonely, and they married. So don't think marriage is going to change that. That's why you want to make sure that in your singles, you're working on you. You're building you. Don't focus on being married. Don't let that be your key focus. Focus on God. You have me in this season for a reason. You have me in this place because there's something you want me to gain from it. Once I went into my singleness and I learned to embrace the singleness, I saw a whole new me develop, flourish, blossom because I allowed God to work in me and work on me. It was that moment when I started saying, God, what is it that you have for me to do? What is it that you want me to do? Not what I want to have with my husband, my future husband, or anything like that. I didn't look into any of that. I became completely celibate. I said, I don't want to sleep with another man. The next person I'm with is going to be my husband, and no other way is it going to be. And so I embraced it. I became what I wanted to be to my husband in my singleness. Sometimes we're trying to wait on the husband to come, and then this gonna happen, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna learn how to manage my money. I'm gonna learn how to not overspend. I'm gonna learn how, I'm gonna wait on him to learn. No, 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 no. This is what you should be building now. Have a clean home now. Keep if you have children already, making sure that they are respectful now. Doing all that stuff now, putting your focus in areas that will allow your attention to be consumed on becoming a better you and not consumed on being better for your husband. That's how you embrace it. Because it's a lot we can work on in our singleness.
Okay, this is our last question here because we'll keep you on probably the next 2 hours. But great advice. Okay, here's one from Renee. Okay.
What advice do you have for newlyweds to keep our marriage alive and thriving for life, not just until the honeymoon is over? Renee, if
Great
you guys have
question, Renee.
that is a good question. That is a good question because at some point the honeymoon phase goes away and the phase of reality kicks in. The honeymoon stage is, oh, these butterflies still here. I'm running home from work so we can make love on my lunch break. I'm cooking. I'm cooking every day and I'm serving you and you serving me. That's the honeymoon stage. It feels really good. But one day that's gonna, start coming down. But how do I keep that balance with reality and the honeymoon? How do I keep that balance there? Because reality is gonna come, life is gonna happen. But what do I need to do? I need to make sure that the things that we made a priority in the honeymoon stage, we keep a priority in the reality stage. We have to keep those things a priority because in the honeymoon stage, that's what kept it alive and thriving. The fact that I wanted to be with you, the fact that I wanted to watch a movie with you, the fact that I would tell my girlfriends, girl, no, I'm not available. Me and Bae got a date. Those things, you have to keep it in perspective. When life starts happening, you say, okay, you know what? I still have a date with my husband life. And so I know that you're saying that we can't go out because it's a pandemic. But guess what? We're going to go out in the house. Set the picnic up in the house. Set it up on your back patio. It's like still being intentional. So if I can tell you anything, Renee, don't stop being intentional with your husband. Keep serving him even when life starts happening, and keep the fire burning always, and not just with sex, but with the way that you guys talk to each other, the way that you connect with each other. You sending him those messages. You sending him, I love you. You making time for him because he's the most important thing because you just got married. Keep it like that. Always communicate. I always tell my wives 5 minutes of communication a day. Keep your marriage alive. Find a time to connect every day. And that will help you keep your marriage alive, because things are going to happen. The enemy is going to come in, and he's going to come in such a smooth and cunning way that because he don't want you to have an awesome marriage. He don't want you to have a marriage that's alive and that's connected. He wants you disconnected, discombobulated, distraught. He wants all of the disses. He don't want anything to be able to keep you connected. He don't want you to be together. He wants you to be confused. You have to make sure that you don't give him that room by staying connected with your husband. And so that's what I would say. Get creative. Somebody just said it. Get creative. My husband is a chronic kidney transplant recipient. He has a kidney transplant. So he hasn't been able to go out since March. He's been out one time. I can count on my hand how many times he's been out the home. But we have not missed a beat with being creative. We've been able to still have dates here in our home. We've been able to grow closer together here in our home. A lot of marriages saw what they were really made of when this pandemic hit. And that's because we were not really connected. We were always gone. And so we had other things that were able to make us seem like we were connected, but we were not truly connected. So we were really disconnected when we got in this house together. And we began to really start seeing, oh, okay, this is what I need. Oh, okay, I'm with you for 24 hours. Oh, okay. Okay, Lord, help me. And that's when the bickering, you only have so many rooms that you can go in. And so you really had to start dealing with each other. So many marriages really saw what they were made of. And some other marriages really saw what they needed to work on. So it's like putting the work in to make sure that you stay connected. That's the key to it.
Wow, that is such good advice. I mean, really. And a great way to end is talking about the pandemic and what's going on in the home. Because yeah, even with this the weather, the cold weather and the little snow we've had, and you're in the house together and you're in with the children, and everybody wants to get out. They want to go out to
Right.
eat, they want to go places, and we're all there together. And if you don't like each other, that makes it really hard.
Right.
And
You can still love them, but
you
not
want
like
to
them.
right, right. And so it's like, where do we go from here? So we're going to end with that. What would you tell them? What would be the two things that they need to do? If they're going through that right at this time, like somebody say, no electricity. I've been hearing
Right.
Nestle talking about no electricity. Okay, I'm frustrated. It's cold at night, then it's getting a little warm. I can't watch TV. I can't, just do anything. I
Yeah.
can't cook if it's electric stove. So it's a lot going on, and the tension is high. We're talking about other things that don't even concern us. And then it just leads to one thing after another. So what can they do? I mean, hey, to get past that and then move forward in this marriage.
In this particular moment, because we have a lot of things happening, the pandemic, this snowstorm that's going across the United States of America, it's a lot of different components. So that brings on a level of frustration all by itself. Then if you were already having marriage problems, that's another level of frustration. So it's just stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. How do I get past this? The first thing is you have to make sure that you're looking inward. This is a season of grace for everybody. We all have to give grace. We all need grace. This is a rough season. Everybody's mental state is off. Everybody is in a different place. Lord Jesus, help us all, because we're in a rough place. And if your marriage was rocky and you were already struggling and you're just like, I don't know what else to do, God, first off, pray. And I know we hear that a lot, but I don't want to stop there, because prayer is the vital thing, but you got to put the work in. Be consistent with saying, today I'm going to be intentional. And today I'm not going to allow the things in life that I cannot change to frustrate me. I can't change that it's a snowstorm. I can't change this pandemic. I can't change that we don't have electricity. I can't change any of that. But what I can change is how I respond to what's happening right now in my home. What I can change is how I treat my husband and how I talk to my children. Those are things I have control over, right? That's the first thing. Pray. The second thing is you can't worry about what you can't control, because it'll take all the energy. And the energy that you're using is the energy that you can be using to work on you. If you're a wife and you're saying, you know what, I really want to work on me. Hey, I have coaching sessions. Go over and it makes you become intentional. Go over to my website and say, you know what, I'm gonna invest this in me today. I'm going to invest in becoming a better wife so that I can learn to talk and deal with the frustration, deal with the pain that I'm dealing with, deal with the, the little girl on the inside that don't know how to love my husband the way that he needs to be loved. I want to learn how to start working through that. So when life start coming and beating at me, I'm not moved. I'm grounded. I'm grounded in the word of God. I'm grounded and I'm confident as a woman. I'm confident as a wife that, you know what? I still got my husband covered. I know he going through, but you know what? I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to respond, but I'm going to work in love. I'm going to give grace because I'm staying, right? We're staying. So why make it miserable? Why not find a way to be a healthy, happy wife and reconnect with your husband? Look, I can really keep going. First lady, this is good to me.
Look, I am enjoying it, and apparently they are too. They're still on. I want to thank you because, as a wife and as a mother, I've messed up so many times. I wish I could do so many things and go back and do it over, especially as a mother. You're young and you just think you're spending more time providing,
Right.
trying to make the ends meet, and you're running around this. It's so many things I wish I could do over, but I can't do over. All I can do is go from here, and as a wife, this information is so valuable. And, I want to encourage the ladies, listen, connect with Coach Nette. We'll put our information back up, but I want you to talk about, as we're going out, about the 31-day challenge.
The 31-day challenge. I want to say something to what you just said, First Lady, how as a woman and as a mom, how we've made so many mistakes. We've made so many mistakes, and we have, especially if we have those older kids that, the things that we did, they're struggling with in their lives right now, or it was an effect on the person that they have become. We have to go and we have to say, I'm sorry. I wasn't the best mom. I did the best I knew, and just be and release them, help them grow. You know how we would need that assurance from our parents to say, you know what, I wasn't there and I did mess up. We were there and we messed up. So you know what, I did the best I could, but you know what, I want to release you. I want to help walk you through whatever support you need to be the best that you can be. And that's what I had to do for my oldest son, because I had him at 15. I was a baby. I didn't know love. I didn't know what love was. All I knew was I wanted him to be the best that he could be. And and that was me being hard on him, because I had never seen a successful man in my life. All I knew was men that drank and did drugs or sold drugs. So I was trying to make sure that he wasn't that. And that meant me being hard on him. And I was so hard. And emotionally, it caused a lot of trauma to him. He never say it, but me seeing him, I see it. And so what I did was he was a junior in college, going into his senior year in college. And I'm grateful for the young man that he turned out to be. He graduated from LSU in kinesiology. He's out working. He's a great young man. But I had to say, Mommy's going to walk you through this thing. God has healed me in that area. I intentionally love on him. He doesn't know how to love. He didn't know what hugs were. So now we don't depart without hugging and kissing. It's going back and helping mend the brokenness that our decisions caused because we didn't know any better. So if you're a mom on here and you have older kids, I don't care how old they are, make amends and tell them, I'm going to walk through this thing with you so that you can be everything that God created you to be. And so thank you for allowing me to share that moment of information.
Yeah, that is real good. My husband and I, we did that. I think it was last summer or something like that. We went and just said, some things we wish we could have done, and we apologize for some things. And, I don't even blame my parents or he don't blame his parents or whatever. We move forward from here because they only taught us what they knew. And so I don't, even deal with that. But it was important to me to get that
Mm-hmm.
out, and say what I needed to apologize to my children with that. But I always
Yes.
want to encourage the other parents, if you're on, you need to make that change, make that correction so that you can be a better mother, be a better wife, and then they can see something different. And then then, to me, it's almost like the curse. You keep repeating things if there's no
Yes.
correction. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so
So,
true.
so let's talk about the 31-day challenge.
Yeah, so the 31-day challenge, I'm so excited about it. It is for a 31-day virtuous wife challenge through my business, Healthy Happy Wives. And it's going to be amazing. The information that I'm sharing with you guys, I go deep in depth with it. We have a consistent everyday challenge. You're focusing on becoming a better wife. Your husband's going to receive great benefits from this. So we talk about love languages, really digging into those love languages, doing those love language challenges, finding out what's your love language, your husband's love language. Then we're really going to go into communication, because communication is the greatest barrier of all of the things, other things, finances, our sexual intimacy, our emotional connection, because we don't know how to communicate those things. So we really talk about how to have those conversations that I've been talking about all day. I really give you tools on how you need to have that conversation. And then we also talk about conflict resolution. So when you're having problems, how do you resolve those conflicts? What do you need to do to get to that place where you can have a conflict without arguing, without it exploding, but you can really have that adult conversation where you come to a mutual agreement that, you know what, we are good. We came to an agreement and we both agree, although somebody may have sacrificed or we both sacrificed something. So we do that. I do daily affirmations. So you get a daily affirmation and you get a daily wife connection that forces you to really connect with your husband. And the daily wife connections actually come from love languages. The love language. If it's a word of affirmation day, or if it's a physical touch day, I may say, hey, go, you're going to walk past your husband. You're just going to touch him, rub your hand across his back, do this intentionally. And so that's how it's set up. It's an amazing, amazing coaching program, and it allows you an opportunity to touch on being intentional in your marriage. And so I'm excited about it. I know I've had several ladies already register. It starts on March the 1st, and we're going to do 31 days in March, and we're going to allow God to work on us as wives. Okay? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I tell you, it's been a pleasure having you on the program for the last 2 weeks. And I mean, the information, you just don't get enough of it. I mean, you have really helped us. And I know that the ladies have really been blessed with the wisdom. I'm reading the comments, just talking about the wisdom that they're receiving and the words that you're sharing with us. It has been a tremendous blessing. I know that, I could tell that you're really going to be successful at what you're doing. You're already seeing probably the fruit of it, but what you're doing is really helping so many people. And I just want to thank you for being on the program. And I want to talk about your ebooks too, because they, for those that were not on last week, how to get your ebook.
Yeah, so I have two ebooks. One is called Intimacy, and it is a 10-step guide to creating a deeper intimacy with your spouse. And it's really good. It's just 10 simple steps of things that you can do every day that helps break through that monotony of the day to day. Oh, you go all day, you don't touch each other, you don't talk to each other. It's just at the end of the day when you decide, oh, we're going to bed together, you may get in the bed, turn your backs to each other, and you go on to sleep. So it's really, really bringing you together with your spouse on how to connect intimately, not just from the sexual side of it, but from all different levels. That's intellectually having those conversations. That's the intimate, the emotional side of it, connecting, and also just connecting on the spiritual side. And then the next one is Healthy Happy Wives, 5 Steps to a Healthy Happy Wife. And that is actually a free download on my site. It's just 5 steps of talking about things that make you healthy and make you happy. Finding that patience. Not becoming so impatient with things. is so important. So I give you 5 little tips that you can start applying every day, and some scriptures that help keep your marriage covered. And so those are the ebooks. Head on over to the website. You won't be disappointed. Great information. And I also have one-on-one coaching. So if you're saying, you know what, I don't want to do the group, I would rather have you one-on-one. I would really be interested in that. You can actually inbox me because I would have more information on that through my inbox. I would like to talk to you personally on that level. But if you're like a one-on-one person, I have a 4-week intensive that's available right now where I work with you 4 weeks straight through. And I'm talking about in those 4 weeks, we are working on turning things around in you and in your marriage. And if you want to bring your husband on, you can. But I'm telling you, that 4 weeks is so intense, and it gives you that push that you need to break through some things, because sometimes we're just stuck and we just need somebody to say, come on, you can push past this. You got this. You can do this, and cheerlead you on in the little steps. Oh, I didn't yell today. Oh, you know what? I kissed my husband before he left. Inbox me now if you would be interested in that intensive training of, getting that coaching and being a better wife. And I'm telling you, you guys, the information is there. The resources are available. We just have to step out and say, you know what? I'm going to invest in my marriage. I'm going to invest in me as a wife, because this is important to me. Anything that's valuable to you, you invest in it. We invest in our hair. We invest in our nails. We invest in our handbags, in our shoes. Let's invest in our marriages and things that we know and we're going to reap great benefits from. Those shoes will get old and we can't wear them one day, or our feet get bigger and swell up on us and we can't get our feet in them. But our marriage will always be there. We'll always be in that. And so let's take time to really invest in our marriages. So you can head over to the website. Everything is on there.
Everything is on there. Just listen, guys, here's the information. So at walkthroughlife.org, go ahead and sign up for the 31 days. And then also, if you need more information, you can inbox Coach Nette, and you can ask all your personal questions, and she'll be able to answer them for you. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. We're getting ready to end now. I tell you, I have enjoyed myself. And I know that the ladies that are on, what does it say? One-on-one coaching, inbox. Okay. Yes. So you can inbox Nette Robinson. And then also there's information for us, Instagram, Facebook, all that. You can get it on in our website. So thank you so much for being a part of the program. I know we're gonna do something else in the future. Don't know what, don't know when, but we'll definitely connect back together.
I am so honored.
Do you want to get the closing?
Ma'am.
Go ahead.
I'm so honored. I thank you guys so much for listening. I'm thankful for you and Apostle for having me. For every lady that's on here, just know that whatever state you're in, you can get through it. It's not the end of the world. I love you guys so much. I don't even know you. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Oh my God. But I know that as a woman and as a wife, it can be a load on us. And we go through a lot. And sometimes we try to do this all by ourselves. We need each other. If your trust has been broken in the arena of, I had a girlfriend, I shared some things with her, and she spilled my beans. Hey, I am a confidential person. I don't share your information with anybody, not your personal stuff, anything. I mean, guys, let's get the help we need. No need in any of us suffering in silence. No need in any of us going through in our marriages and we feel like we can't talk to somebody. The information is here. The help is here. I am here for you, because I remember those times when I would go through some things and I felt like I couldn't say it. My husband and I have gone through so many things in our marriage that were like rough surgeries, times where I didn't think he was going to come out. And I felt like I didn't have anything. My bishop and pastor, of course, they were there. But we're thinking on the line of we want to keep them protected. We don't want to put all our weight on you guys. So we would go through it. But look, we can connect in other ways as well. And I thank you so much, First Lady, for opening up this platform for us to be able to talk about this kind of stuff. Because Sometimes we're told to keep this stuff in our homes. Don't talk about when you're having problems. Don't talk about you're hurting. Don't talk about you're having this situation. You find a safe place and you get the help you need so that you can be better. And that's my plea to us as women and as wives. Find a safe place and get the help you need so you can be better. And so I am here for that. I don't know why God put me in this place where I just, this burden for it. It's always been on me, but he has released me in this season to go forth in it. And my bishop always says, this is the season. God is releasing you. My pastor told me the same thing. You're going to help people. This is the season for this. And I'm grateful for this moment to be able to share. And my husband and I, we share on a different platform together. So connect with us. Connect with us and we will share whatever we have. We share our story. We're open. We're vulnerable because we understand that transparency is the thing that helps. Not making that it's all perfect. We're not perfect. We still have problems and we go through, but letting you guys see that we go through in grace and we still love each other in the hard time. And we're not walking out on each other because things got rocky. So yes, ma'am. Thank you. And yes, thank you.
That was outstanding. Listen, guys. Listen, connect back next Tuesday. We'll be back on Triumphant Tuesday. Next week, we're going to be dealing with parents that have raised boys and what they've taught their boys and how to be gentlemen. And, you know, a lot of times we hear about the girls, we talk about the women, but we want to hear about the boys, especially if you're a single mother with raising boys. We want you to be on the program next week because he's going to share with us what he instilled in his boys or what they instilled in their boys, how to be young men, how to be gentlemen. So listen, Triumphant Tuesday, thanks be unto God, which always causes us to triumph. We will see you next week. And once again, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for being a part of the program. And you have definitely poured into us and we appreciate that. Thank you all for watching the program. We're tuning off. And so listen, we'll see you next week on Triumphant Tuesday.